Iran says it received a message overnight from the U.S. via Oman warning of an imminent attack. In this message, President Donald Trump reportedly gave Tehran a deadline to begin talks.
This is emerging as U.S. media reports that President Trump authorized retaliatory military strikes against Iran on Thursday, but later decided to call it off. And that's in response to the downing of an American surveillance drone.
The Pentagon claims its drone was flying over international airspace over the Strait of Hormuz. For more on this, we are speaking now to Malcolm Brown. He's in Washington. Good evening, or rather good afternoon over there. Malcolm, it appears that President Trump authorized strikes on Iran, backtracked on that decision. Is that your reading? And what could have been the reasons for that?
That's certainly what it sounds like. Clearly, it was the attack was in some fairly advanced stages. Aircraft were reported to be in the air. Ships were in position. The selected targets are reported widely by the U.S. media to have been Iranian surface-to-air missile sites and associated radar facilities. And then at some point, the order came from the White House to halt the attack. We don't know whether that was the result of some new information or whether President Trump just had a change of heart following this reported channel of communication between the White House through Oman to Tehran.
Malcolm, tensions do seem to be escalating. Even airlines are halting flights over Hormuz. Where do you see this going?
That's right. The US FAA, the commercial aircraft regulator here in the United States, has issued an order to all aircraft and airlines within its jurisdiction to avoid sections of the Gulf of Oman and the Straits of Hormuz, the area around Iran that's heavily disputed. That's because of concern about rising political tension and military activity. The FAA has concluded that at the time of the shootdown of this drone, the nearest commercial aircraft was about just over 80 kilometers away, which is, in aircraft terms, close enough to be pretty disquieting. So, yes, they've warned U.S. carriers away from the area for the moment. And the sense here is that there is the potential, enormous potential, for miscalculation. And even though this particular attack may have been called off for now, it's not a given that there will not be some kind of military strike in the future. President Trump seems to be battling dual personality aspects when it comes to this particular issue. On the one hand, he sounded very tough on the international stage. On the other hand, especially towards Iran, but he's also, on the other hand, expressed a desire not to be the world's policeman and expressed strong distaste for military activities, especially in the Middle East of the past. So it's not totally clear, but as I've said, people are very worried about the potential for miscalculation here. There's clearly a sense of desperation somewhat in Tehran. That's certainly the way it's seen here in Washington, with increased sanctions really biting on the regime, and the regime perhaps feeling that its future existence is somewhat at stake, and they do seem to be ramping up. We've seen these attacks in the Strait on oil tankers that are blamed by the United States on Iran. So clearly an escalating cycle here.
All right, well, many thanks for your thoughts, Malcolm Brown, speaking or reporting to us from Washington.